You open your eyes inside a cave. For a second, you do not move. Your arms feel stiff. Your feet feel like blocks of ice. The air burns your nose every time you breathe in, and somewhere outside the cave, the wind is screaming like something alive. The fire is almost dead. Only a few orange coals are left, glowing weakly in the dark. You crawl toward them, desperate for heat, but then you hear it. A low sound, not the wind, not a person, a growl. At the mouth of the cave, two eyes are staring back at you. A cave lion, huge, hungry, close. You freeze. Your hands are numb. Your legs are weak from the cold. You have no metal weapon or someone to call to save yourself. Now ask yourself one question. How did humans survive this? Not just one cold night, not just one storm, entire winters, frozen ground, starving animals, darkness that lasted too long, and predators that were just as desperate to live as they were. The answer was not one secret. It was a chain of small advantages, and if even one broke, winter could take everything. Because in the ancient world, cold was not uncomfortable. Cold was death. The first enemy was the temperature itself. A modern human can feel cold, walk inside, turn up the heat, put on a jacket, drink something warm, and forget about it. Ancient humans did not have that luxury. When winter came, the body had to fight every second to keep its core warm. Fingers and toes could go numb, skin could crack, muscles could become slow and useless. And if the body lost too much heat, the person did not just feel tired. They stopped thinking clearly. That was the terrifying part. The colder you became, the worse you became at saving yourself. You moved slower. You made worse decisions. You wanted to sit down. You wanted to sleep. And in deep cold, sleeping could mean never waking up. So the first rule of winter was simple: stay warm or die. And that made fire one of the most important tools humans ever controlled. Fire was not just comfort. Fire gave heat, light, cooked food, and protection. It turned a cave from a dark hole in the ground into something almost like a home. But keeping fire alive was work. Someone had to gather wood. Someone had to protect the flames from wind and snow. Someone had to make sure the fire did not die in the middle of the night. Because if the fire went out during winter, the cave became darker. The air became colder. The animals outside became bolder. So ancient humans likely treated fire like life itself. They fed it, watched it, carried embers when they moved, built their days around it. But fire alone was not enough. You still had to leave the cave. You still had to hunt, gather, find water, find wood, and find anything that could keep the group alive. And that meant the second secret was clothing. Not clothing like we imagine today. No zippers, no stitched jackets from a store. Just animal skins, fur, hides, sinew, bone needles, and human hands. To survive cold places, humans had to steal warmth from the animals that were already built for winter. Fur from reindeer, bison, mammoth, wolf, bear. Thick hides that could trap heat near the body. Layers that could block wind. Foot coverings that stopped skin from touching frozen ground. Every piece of clothing mattered. A loose gap could let cold air in. Wet clothing could become dangerous. Bare feet could become useless. Hands too cold to grip a spear could mean no food. So ancient humans did something incredible. They turned dead animals into portable shelter. They wore warmth. And this changed everything, because once humans could carry insulation on their bodies, they could move through cold landscapes that would have killed them before. But even warm clothing did not solve the biggest winter problem: food. In summer, life is hard. In winter, life becomes brutal. Plants disappear under snow, rivers freeze, small animals hide, herds move. The world becomes quieter, emptier, and hungrier. And humans were not the only ones starving. Wolves were hungry, hyenas were hungry, cave lions were hungry. Every predator in that frozen world had the same problem: find food or die. Even if the cave was empty, the smell of food, meat, smoke, and humans could attract danger. So winter survival was also defense. Fire kept predators cautious. Spears made the cave dangerous to enter. And the group made sure no one faced the dark alone. A lone human in freezing darkness was weak. A group around a fire holding weapons and watching the entrance, was something different. This is one reason humans survived so well. We were not the strongest animal, we were not the fastest, but we were dangerous together. One person could sleep while another stayed alert. One person could watch the fire while another repaired tools. One person could carry a child while another carried meat. Knowledge moved through the group. Heat moved through the group. Survival moved through the group. In winter, loneliness was a threat. The group was technology. So humans had to be smart. They tracked footprints in snow. They watched migration routes. They followed herds. They used cliffs, traps, spears, and teamwork. They learned where animals moved when the temperature dropped. Snow made life harder, but it also told stories. Every footprint was a message, a broken branch, a trail, a patch of blood, a place where animals had dug through snow to reach grass. Ancient humans had to read the frozen world like a book. And when they finally killed something, nothing could be wasted. Meat was food. Fat was energy. Bones became tools. Fat was especially important. In cold weather, the body burns energy fast. Lean meat alone is not enough. Fat is dense, powerful fuel. It keeps the body warm and moving. So for ancient humans, the fattest parts of an animal were not gross. They were treasure. Bone marrow, organs, stored fat, animal grease. These were not side dishes. They were survival. And this is where winter planning mattered. You could not wait until the coldest night of the year and suddenly decide to prepare. By then, it was too late. Winter survival began before winter. Humans had to gather materials, prepare hides, repair tools, collect wood, learn animal patterns, and sometimes store food. They had to choose camps carefully. A good cave or shelter could block wind, stay dry, hold heat, and give a clear view of danger. A bad shelter could kill you slowly. Too much wind, and the fire struggled. Too much dampness, and the cold entered your bones. Too exposed, and predators could reach you. Too hidden, and you might not see danger coming. So shelter was not just a cave. It was a decision. And sometimes there was no perfect cave. So humans built. They used branches, bones, hides, stones, earth, snow, and whatever the landscape gave them. Some groups built shelters from mammoth bones and covered them with hides. Others used windbreaks, huts, or temporary camps. The goal was always the same: trap warmth, block wind, and stay alive until morning. But surviving winter was not only about the body, it was about the mind. Imagine weeks of cold, long nights, little food, children crying, smoke in your eyes, predators outside, the same faces around the same fire, waiting for the world to become soft again. If one person had survived a deadly winter before, the whole group could benefit from it. Where to move? When the herds return, how to keep babies warm? What kind of snow is dangerous? What silence means when predators are near? Modern humans write things down. Ancient humans carried survival in their minds. But humans had one advantage that cold could not erase: adaptability. They could make tools, change shelters, follow animals, share food, wear fur, control fire, teach children, remember patterns, work together. Winter did not make humans powerful because they were comfortable. Winter made humans powerful because comfort was impossible. Every day forced them to solve problems. Every night tested whether the solution worked. And slowly, across generations, humans became one of the only animals on Earth that could walk out of warm Africa and survive in frozen lands. Not because they grew thick fur, not because they became bigger than the predators, but because they learned how to borrow from everything around them. So go back to that cave. The fire is low. The wind is screaming. Your feet are numb. A cave lion is standing in the dark. Alone, you are finished. But you are not alone. Behind you, someone grabs a spear. Someone throws wood onto the coals. The fire rises. Shadows jump across the cave wall. The animal stops. For one moment, two ancient forces stare at each other. That is how cavemen survived freezing winters, not by being stronger than winter, but by becoming the one animal that could look at cold, darkness, hunger, and predators, and build a way through all of them.